All right. Excuse me. All right, all right. Thank you all. Welcome to the class. All right. All right. Islam, Islam, Islam. Appreciate you all for coming. So we're going to go over civics. What is civics? We need to know what civics is, right? Civics is that department of political science. So this is politics. Do you hear me? This is politics. You must be a politician in order to be a part of politics. Keep that in mind. Civics is that department of political science. I forgot a word. Which treats of citizens, citizenship, and the rights of citizenship, the duties of citizens, and relating to citizens, cities, and to civil affairs. So if you are a pertinent follower of the club, the class, right, you will know that on the YouTube channel, there are dissertations up there that say law definitions. All right. And in those courses on the YouTube channel, we go over definitions. And so you'll find the definitions of political, body politics, citizens, citizenship, rights, duties, right? You'll find this stuff. All right. So we are teaching those things necessary to help make our people, Moorish Americans, better citizens, equal to all other true American citizens. Okay, not above, not below. Okay? Peace and love, beloved. The Constitution is the foundation of de jure law in all civilized governments. The Constitution is a legally binding contract. The citizen is any of the people of or as the sovereign nation. And so this would be, you put these together, and what you have is a constituent member. So if you agree to the terms and conditions, you have gained membership. Okay? The Constitution is the foundation of de jure law in all civilized governments. The Constitution of the United States Republic of North America is of ancient origin and is the supreme law of the land. The laws of any state by themselves, to the contrary, notwithstanding. So the U.S. Constitution says you have the right to be secure, the right of the people to be secured in your person. Now, if your state doesn't allow you to enforce that universal principle, then whatever judgment that they place upon you, null and void, right? If it is contrary to the agreement, it's not in agreement, and therefore it has no standing within the agreement. All right. The civic duty of all who are part of the whole of the nation and partial to their state and the nation as a whole. Not part and parcel, but part and partial. Okay? The civic duty of all who are part and partial of this said government have the outstanding duty and responsibility to command the enforcement of our national constitution by name and principle. All right? In order to enforce an agreement, you have to comply. You have to be in compliance, right, with the agreement. And so the enforcer is the law enforcer must also be the law abider. You abide by the law and thus enforce the law. In contracting, if you are a principal party, then you have the right, you're going to abide by the law. If you step out of line, these are the terms and conditions that you must fulfill. If someone else within the agreement steps out of line, these are the same terms and conditions that they must fulfill. And you must abide by the law and enforce it, particularly, especially if and when there may be a breach. Okay? It says that it is in place to secure the substantive rights of all free national beings. All right. So again, that's what it is. That's what I want. This is the substance. And this is the form in which the substance takes. All right? This is the democracy. This is the republic. These are your rights and your duties. These are privileges. Okay? Privileged to have, right? What you're doing is you're raising the dead. Okay? You're raising the civilly dead, the statelessness into the state of mind of one with the state. Anywho. No community of natural people. Now, mind you, these are natural. There you go. This is the natural person. This is an artificial person. Let me rephrase that. Hold on. This is an artificial personality. These are artificial personalities. Both the liable party and the equitable owner. These are artificial persons, right? Now, the natural people or the natural person who is a constituent member now can play this role or that role. In this role, there's only one personality and it can't speak. On this side, this role has the ability to speak and the ability to authorize a thing to be done. All right. Stateless. Stateless means mindless or soulless, even. And this is the state. So this is mindless or voiceless or soundless. This is a mind. This is a soundless mind. This is a sound mind, meaning that it has the ability to emanate. All right. It has the force within to exert power. Okay. All right. Let's get back to this. No community of natural people can ever be stable, free, or secure. This is your security. This is your policy enforcer. This is the policy to be enforced, which is the 14th Amendment citizen. This is the policy holder, thus enforcer. This is the policy, and this one holds the policy and enforces the policy, okay? Just like all policemen, all police officers are supposed to have an insurance policy for indemnification. This is your insurance policy for indemnification, okay? All right. You cannot have a policy without a policy holder. And you cannot be a policy holder without a policy. All right. No community of natural people can ever be stable, free, or secure if their inalienable rights and immunities, which are secured by the Constitution because you're a constituent member, right, are allowed to be abridged or ignored. So when you have this status or standing, your rights cannot be ignored. This side has no rights. All of your rights are obviously on the right side. That's why this side of the ledger is the right side. The creditor side is the right side of God. It's the right side of justice. This is where you enforce your civic rights. Over here, all right? This is your civil officer right here. This is your character. Where there is no constitution enforcement, expect there to be political abuses of authority, a color of law, and foul disorder breeding among the natural people. Right? So where there is no constitution, where there is no agreement that you're one of the people, there will be mistreatment of you by the people because you're not one of the people. We don't know who you are. You know, this would be like in business, this would be like someone who came into Walmart dressed up in a Walmart outfit and, you know, just slid on in there, was doing all the work. And then at the end of the day, he requires to be paid, but he's not on the clock. You know, impersonating. You're impersonating an authorized user by acting as the security and not as the security holder. All right. There is no doubt that a major feature marking the social culture of North American political affairs is that of the heavily entrenched practices of human rights violations. Many of these common violations have been loosely categorized as articism, You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to allow TikTok to cut me. Right? So, racism or biases, etc. However, all citizens of this free national government of the United States of America should be aware of the international laws. This is your international policy enforcer. Ooh. As where your, let me see, I'm speaking so hard, like this. Where is, there we go, pardon self. This is your national policy enforcer. This is your international policy enforcer. Okay? It says, all citizens of this free national government of the United States of America should be aware of the international laws which have been instituted to address these matters. The United States of America is an obligated party to those human rights agreements. These are your human rights agreements. These are your civil rights. These are your human rights. Humans enforce civil rights. Civil rights that are not recognized cannot be enforced. Okay? The question before us all is who, and where do we, the natural people, stand on these matters? Are we fulfilling our responsibility to enforce the supreme law for the protections of the substantive rights of all natural people, etc.? Are we in the position of power to enforce and exercise the rights inherent and guaranteed by the agreement called the Constitution? So, when you get your passport, you file an affidavit, right? You do not file an oath. You merely affirm the truth to be true, right? So you affirm your allegiance. Okay. You affirm your allegiance over here. Now, these are where the oaths are taken, right? It says all politicians and officers of the courts of the Republic of the United States of America, Army, and all federal and military officers and all state and municipal officers, sheriffs, mayors, councilmen, freeholders, and policemen, etc., are bound by law to support and defend the Constitution. So the support is abidance, and defense is enforcement, law enforcement. Ooh. Sound like we got some garbage pickers outside. Yeah. Works for me. All right. It says the following is an example of the standard oath which all of the above, etc., must take for the public record. Now, mind you, when you're filing for your passport, this is a private assertion, and thus it is an affirmation. But in the public, it is an oath. Okay? I, name here, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These are enemies of the state. Domestic, terrorists, and foreign, non-resident alien. All identities that are not with the state. Okay? That I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. All right, so this is the charging agent. This is the discharging agent. Everything that this agent is not. This agent has white status, and so this agent has black status, just to show the contrast, right? It says each justice, and mind you, justice is over here. Justice is over here, not in the asset, but on this side of the account, right? Each justice, judge, and justice of the peace. Equity is peace. So a minister of peace, a prince of Islam, or a principal equitable officer, before entering upon the duties of his office, takes and subscribes an oath that he will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State Republic to which he or she is a citizen or member, and that he or she will faithfully and impartially discharge his or her office to the best of his or her ability. Okay, so again, the state citizen did it again. There it is. This is the discharger. And remember that redemption, the redeeming of debits into credits, happens on the right side of the ledger. Okay? I'm not going to get into that. All right, here we go. Law enforcement code of ethics, right? This is the enforcement. This is the law. This is the law enforcement. They act as one, okay? This is everything that's written. And this is the side of whoever's holding the writing and enforcing it, okay? It says, as a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to safeguard the property. If you're identified as property, then you cannot obviously be the property holder. You must be the one to secure the property. If you don't secure the property, someone else will secure the property. It says to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder. This is peaceful. This is disorder. If you act in this capacity, you're in disorder. If you act in the proper capacity, you are in order. If you act over here, you're out of law. If you act over here, you're in law. You're lawful. Lawless, lawful. It says, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. This is the welfare of others on this side. Honest in thought and deed, in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Your department is your state. The laws of the land is the national USA Constitution, and your department is your state constitution. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature, or that is confided to me in my official capacity, will be kept ever sacred unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution for criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. Now, we know that there are policy enforcers who have taken this oath but do not stand behind it, right? The office of the policy enforcer is not a bad office. We're all policy enforcers. The issue that we're having is that those who are in office are not honoring their agreement, and those who are being regulated are also not honoring the agreement. And so, again, you have chaos. All right? Order. Chaos, order. Okay? I recognize the badge of my office. Let me show you the badge of my office. This is the badge of my office. And Pennsylvania is also another badge of my office. I will show you in a moment what it is that I am reading. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust. So this side is accepting this side. This is the public trust that's being accepted. To be held so as long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God or the state to my chosen profession, which is law enforcement. This is a general or a standard law enforcement code of ethics is what I was reading. Okay. All right. So the next question we're going to ask is, do you know your rights? Do you know your rights? And do you understand that your rights are on the... Let me put this back up here. All right. Debits equal credits. All right. Your rights are on the right side. All right. If this, we'll call this letter T is the truth. Okay. This T stands for truth. So the truth is justice. All right. And if you're on the right side of justice, or you're on the right side of truth, then you're dealing with the credits, and you have the option, you have the authority to discharge. If you're on the left-hand side, you can only be charged. Someone else has to discharge your affairs for you. All right. This is what politicians and lawyers know about traffic court, but do not share with the general public. Okay. It says, do you know about color of law and racketeering? Okay. Racketeering deals with bookkeeping and not showing all of the books. Racketeering is like cooking the books. You're only showing the debit, but you're not showing who it's going to, who is owed to, who is going to discharge the account. Okay? That's what racketeering is. It's numbers running. Numbers go in books and ledgers. And again, if you only have one side of the ledger showing, it's not a full account. There can be no total or complete audit, and thus there can be no true settlement. But if you accept the cook of the books, then you won't have to eat it. If that's what they serving and you eating. All right, so racketeering practices among city and town politicians by their using quasi-criminal traffic courts to deprive the people of their rights and their property. Remember, yeah, I want to always keep in mind. I would like for you all to keep in mind. Uh, this is property. Okay, everything on that side of the ledger is property. It's the cash. It's the inventory, right? And over here, this is the property holders. So this is the principal. This is the principal officer. Okay, we want to keep this in mind so that we understand on what side are we operating civically. Civically. In civics, this is the true citizen of the state, and this is the stateless citizen. In civics, this side has political force. This side has no force whatsoever. This has civil standing. This has no civil standing. Okay. It says, do you know the difference between a right? So there we go. This side has rights. This side has privilege. Okay? All right. Now, this side has rights and privileges. This side has rights and privileges. But this side has limited rights and privileges. This side has unlimited rights and privileges. Okay? This would be like a customer at your store. It has the right to fair and courteous service. It has the right to good food, if you will, good products and services. And in the event that there is an issue, it has the right to be satisfied, right? On this side, you have all of those rights as well. You have rights upon everyone else in the organization. This is the customer. This is the provider. This is the service. This is the service provider. Okay? All right. Somebody write something? No. All right. Thanks for sharing the love. 100. Appreciate it. We up to 4,000. That's what's up. That's what's up. Let me get some roses up in there. Anybody got you got one coin for roses? If you love me, send me some roses. Send me some roses, y'all. Anywho, the United States Supreme Court, Article 3, Section 1 of the Constitution for the United States of America Republic, vested judicial powers and the establishment of inferior courts. These are your inferior courts over here. This is the supreme law over here. There has to be a delegation of authority over here in order for someone to act in this capacity. This is my delegation of authority order right here. Delegated authority given to me by Article 3, right? Under Article 3, as an Article 4, Section 4 constituent member, right? Section 1, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in 1, Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So imagine, this is your magisterial courts over here. This is traffic court, right? These are administrative courts. These are judicial courts, all right? This is the administration of the estate. This is the overseeing of the administration of the estate. This is the estate administrator. This is the estate being administrated. All right. You are the judge. Remember that. This is the side of the judge over here too. You are the judge. You are the justice, right? If you were not the judge, at least you were the minister. You're the officer that comes to the judge and that speaks to the judge, right? Like in court. On this side, you would be the prosecutor. You're the prosecutor. You're the minister of justice. You're the one bringing the account to the judge. You are turning over. You're turning over. You're the turnkey. You have the master key to turn things over. All right. Anywho. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during the continuance in office. So the trustee gets compensation, right? The prosecutor gets compensation for turning over the defendant. All right, they get paid for their service. And so you must act in that same capacity in order to properly discharge and to receive your discharge or to receive your compensation for the proper discharge of your duties. What we got going on here? That's what I thought. I have a statement. Okay, you calling me boy is going to get you cut right off. But just for the moment, of course, it's somebody who ain't got a real face. But come on up. Let's hear your question, boy. By the way, these are boys and girls. These are men and women. Man up. Come on up. Like I said in 63, I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, so I already see what this is. I don't see anything relevant from that individual. If you don't come up, I'm going to just cut you off, family. It's going to be what it's going to be. Why don't you come on up? Why don't you come on up and speak? Come on up. Come on. We don't do segregation. Why don't you come on up? Come on up. All right, yeah, we see it. So we're going to go ahead and... So much ignorance. As a matter of fact, hold on first. Let me report. Yeah. You will never be able to get back on this, not on this platform. Hate speech. You have already reported it. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and remove you. All right, there we go. And now, back to business. Let's see. Native Prairie Outfitters. When the truth comes, the bullshit comes with it, bro. That's all. No issue. That just means it's someone that I've most likely banned. You know, they got their little secondary account, whatever. Anyway, getting back to the meat, right? Because we ain't got time for that. Whereas there is no question that a bench summons, a detention, an arrest, a ticket, or a citation issued by a policy enforcer or by others for parking or traveling with no driver's license, a foreign driver's license, no current registration, or no mandatory insurance, etc., which carries a fine or jail time, is a penalty or sanction and is indeed converting a right into a crime, thus violating substantive rights. It is reasonable to assume that the court's judicial decisions are straight and to the point, and that there is no lawful method for government to put restrictions or limitations on rights belonging to the people. This is the people. The right side is we the people. Low key, what's the deal with the double glasses gang? Don't we have the technology to merge? All right, so I'm gonna just tell you. Let me show you. See that? You hear me through these. These are my prescriptions. These are the ones that you hear me through. That's the deal, gang. Rude. Anywho. The right to own and to possess private property. This is property. When you bring it onto this side, it becomes private. Hey. Where was that? The right to own and to possess private property. All right. And so, yeah, you just keep getting it. Possession. These are the possessions. This is the possessor side. Okay. The right to own and to possess private property and personality and to be secure in those rights. This is your secured person, is preserved and secured for the people and the citizens by the Constitution. Government does not give rights, for it has no rights to give or to sell, nor to license. Government is put in place to protect and to secure the pre-existing inalienable rights of the people as citizens. United States Constitution Amendment 4, we went over this before. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Yeah, we about to get to some of the meat, right? Article 6, Clause 2 and Clause 3 of the United States Constitution states, Clause 2, this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. 1 second. Put me right back on the screen. Yerp. All right, we're back. All right. It says, and, excuse me, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or anything in the laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. This is not with, there we go. This side is not withstanding, which is another way of saying civilly did. This is withstanding. Standing and status are the same. And so this is civilly alive. All right. Clause 3. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures. Now, mind you, the several state legislatures are people of the state who have been elected from the state by the people to represent them. So these are your princes, your nobles, right? Your esquires, your courtesans. All right. You must know that you too are one of the courtesans. All right. I'm the jester. I'm the fool. I got everybody fooled. If you know the court jester, then you know that the court jester is a wise individual playing the part of a fool to catch the fools. But anywho, let's continue. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification by any office or public trust. This is a public trust. This is the private under the United States, right? So I don't have to be a Christian in order to be a member of the state. I could be a Muslim. And since religion is trust in the state administration, then I'm not forced into debtorship. Christianity teaches you that you're born a debtor, that you're born over here, right? And that you live your whole life trying to get to this side, right? In Islam, you're born over here. You're born over here. You can fall into this, but you're born over here, all right? And so my trust in administrative law teaches me that I am the property holder, that I'm the principal officer, that I'm the one with the rights, that I'm the possessor, and that I have standing, and that I am civilly alive. Because I am one with the state, right? Or I am one with God, right? Or I am God's prophet and messenger. Prophet is just another word to explain principal officer. Okay? Let me close this window. Didn't really do too much. All right. So now, understanding that the supreme law is administrated or judicially regulated or executed through the Supreme Courts, we're going to look at some Supreme Court law cases, right, that speak about your right. 1, the right to travel, the right to mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of rights. So like in my case, they're trying to make void the exercise of my rights by labeling me as the debtor over here when it's already been placed on the record that I'm over here, that I'm the creditor. All right. Let me see what's going on. Now I'm being nosy. All right. Anyway, So this is State v. Armstead, right? We have number 2, the use of the highways for the purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and natural beings cannot be rightfully deprived. And so when you hear court arguments that traveling has nothing to do with driving or using your car on the road, Supreme Court tells you otherwise. So if you don't know it, you can't defend it. But if you know it, then you stand your ground. You let whoever make their assertion, but you make yours, right? 3, the right to park or travel is part of the liberty of which the natural person, the citizen, cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. So, if you're out riding around and you're swerving, they have the right to pull you over, right? But if you're out there in the world and you're just going from point A to point B, they don't have the right to pull you over. Do you assist people with correcting? I do assist people with getting themselves back with the state. Go to the website. The link is in the bio. And then you'll go to the Economic Security tab. And you will see the services as well as the products that we provide here at American Nationals University. The right of a citizen to travel. Listen, because again, I've heard particular arguments where the prosecution is telling you that driving has nothing to do with travel. Okay, listen. The right of a citizen. The right to park or travel. Do you park your bike? You park your car, right? So we're talking about something, again, that's dealing with traveling in your car, right? All right. The right to park or travel is part of the liberty of which the natural person, citizen. Okay, we read that part. Pardon. The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport one's own property thereon, either by carriage or automobile, is not a mere privilege which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he or she has under the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is Thompson v. Smith. So we have the right of a citizen to travel by automobile. There's a case law that says travel has everything to do with operating your automobile or your motor vehicle. If you're operating your motor vehicle not for profit, not in commerce, then you are traveling. All right. Number 5, state police power extends only to immediate threats to public safety, health, welfare, etc., which driving and speeding are not. Driving and speeding are not immediate threats to the public safety, health, or welfare of the people. There's case law that says so. All right. The state is prohibited from violating substantive rights. So now, if you are one with the state, they cannot violate your rights. But if you are not one with the state, you have no rights that the state are judicially bound to acknowledge. All right. Just keep that in mind. The state is prohibited from violating substantive rights. And it cannot do by one power, such as police power, right, that which is, for example, prohibited expressly to any other such power, like taxation or eminent domain, as a matter of law. Nor can it apply indirectly that which is prohibited to it directly. 7, traveling. Here we go. Here's traveling in an automobile yet again. All right. Yet again. Traveling in an automobile on the public roads was not a threat to the public safety or health and constituted no hazard to the public, and such a traveler owing nothing more than due care as regards to tort for negligence. Damn, see, they cut me off when let me start that over. I see they was cutting me. Traveling in an automobile on the public roads was not a threat to the public safety or health and constituted no hazard to the public. And such a traveler, owing nothing more than due care as regards to tort for negligence to the public, and the owner owed no other duty to the public or the state. He, she, and her auto have, hold on, let me read that. To the public, and the owner owed no other duty to the public. All right. He, she, and his or her automobile having equal rights to and on the roadways or highways as horses and wagons, etc. Your car has the same right as a horse or a wagon. If you've seen the Amish people, they have horses and wagons. They don't have licenses. They're not regulated that way. Just saying, right? It says the same right is still substantive rule in that speeding, running stop signs, traveling without license plates or registration are not threats to the public safety and thus are not arrestable offenses. I got arrested for that. So that's an unlawful arrest already. All right. We have number 8. Under the United States Republic's constitutional system of government, and upon the individuality and intelligence of the citizen, the state does not claim to control one's conduct to others, leaving one the sole judge as to all that affects oneself. They can't tell you what to do. I'm in the process. 9. As a matter of fact, if you go to the YouTube channel link in bio, and I believe it's like the last 2 or 3 lectures, you'll see that I've already placed that information on the record for you so that you can see my process and procedures, right, leading up to where I'm at, right? So I've given you the snapshot, I've given you the balance sheet, and I've given you the income statement on the YouTube channel. All right, where we at? Number 8. Nope, number 9. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. My rights are secured. So when I was arrested, right, the officer, knowing me prior, used certain information that was not given to him. This is the information that was given to him. And yet he used other information, right? And so he violated my right because this is a real ID. This was real identification given to him. Anywho, 10. The claim and exercise of constitutional rights cannot be converted into a crime, which is exactly what has been attempted. All right. 11. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. Right? For a crime to exist, there is a charge, and there has to be someone over here claiming the charge in order to receive the discharge. So you would want discovery. You're auditing. You don't want you want to make sure they're not racketeering and only showing you part of the books. You want to see both sides of the books. You want to know who is it that's bringing the charge against you. Who is it saying that that there is a performance owed to them by you? What's up? Are you available? Who's this? 1 second, y'all. All right, well. All right, almost done. (11) says, for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party It's called corpus delicti. And there can be no sanction or penalty imposed on one because of this constitutional right. 12. If any court finds absence of proof of jurisdiction over a person and subject matter, the case must be dismissed because the accuser bears the burden of the proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So they can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that I'm the one that they even charged, because there's already evidence on the file stating that I'm someone else. Just saying. And 13. Lack of federal jurisdiction cannot be waived or overcome by agreement of parties, and want of jurisdiction may not be cured by the consent of parties. Meaning that just because you assent to it or you agree to it, if it is not true, it does not apply. The state citizens are secured. The stateless citizens are securities. This side deals with things and stuff and property, tangible. This deals with people and intangibles. This is cash. This is a promise to pay. You can touch the cash, but if you've given me an IOU, I have the value, but I haven't touched the cash yet. Right? That's a promise. Right? And a promise is a contract. Right? You made an offer. I promised to fulfill it. You gave me this on consignment, and once I go and move all of that, I will bring back your portion, right, of the gross profit. And once I pay out you and the expenses, what I have left is my bottom line. That's my net profit. These are my earnings. That's revenue. All right. So I hope this has all been helpful for you all. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the YouTube, take a look at the website, right? And stay informed, because he who is informed holds the sword of justice. All right, stay dangerous. Stay informed is what I mean when I say stay dangerous.